Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I really need to tell you this story. I think you need to hear it. I was going through my house looking for something else, and I found the thing that I really didn't know I was looking for, the thing that I really needed. It was a story that had been hidden inside me that I'd forgotten. It was just another thing, another time, another experience. I pulled down this book, and it reminded me of a time when I was a kid. Now, if you've been listening to my stories, you know that when I was a kid, I did cleaning work. I cleaned houses in the morning before school. I cleaned banks after school. In between that time, I would go to the library, get all my homework done, and then read and learn and seek to find ways to be in the world. I think that's probably where I first learned to sew without even knowing it. I would look at old microfiche catalogs and look at fashion and how fashion was made and what it was and how it was, because I was really hoping that one day I'm gonna get me one of those dresses. One day I'm gonna have a nice car. One day I'm gonna have a house. One day and I was just dreaming and planning and seeing in those catalogs of clothes, those old wonderful fashions and the way they were styled. Anyway, one of the librarians noticed me there all the time, and she offered me a job in the summer in the library. Well, you know I jumped at it. It was in the library. But it wasn't that library, and I was a little bit let down. It was a school library, but it was a library nonetheless, and there were books everywhere. I just didn't want to clean. And that's basically what the job was in the library. We were taking all the books down and reorganizing them and putting them back where they belong. But in between, we would clean all the shelves and clean off the dust of all the books and put them back upon those shelves towards the front, never pushed all the way back. There was another young lady that was working there with me. And during that time of moving through those stacks, we got to share and to talk and to be ourselves. She didn't really open up at first. She was a little bit stiff and she seemed angry, and I didn't know why. And all I had was all I knew, because I was a little bit angry and I was a little bit closed off and I was a little bit shielded and guarded from more stuff of life. But somewhere in that talking and dusting and reshelving books, I told her about God. I told her that in all of the turmoil of my life and the despair, there was a place that I could go that was still and beautiful. And in that space, I knew I was loved. In the center of that space, I knew I was not alone. In the center of that space, I knew that everything was going to be okay. Every day she'd ask me more about this God, this Jesus, this Holy Spirit, and how it had made me new, and how it made me happy, and how it had made me whole. Well, yesterday, when I was looking for another old book on the shelf that really needs to be dusted, where there are books that somebody walked by and pushed them back too far, I found a Soul Food Bible. They used to have this Bible that had Black folks all in it, and poetry and story and life in between the chapters of the New Testament. There were pictures of Afroed young folks and stories of collard greens and cornbread and how that was so good for your body, but you also needed something for your soul. And in the front of that book, I found what she had written to me. She told me thank you, because she had become completely new, and it was because of me, and that she would never ever be able to repay me. I looked at the date on that book, and I was 14 years old, sharing the only thing that I knew to get me through the stuff that I knew way too well. We all have experiences of darkness, experiences of pain. But what if we shared those together? What if we share the spark of the divine that's between us? What if The story of my suffering and sorrow is the one you need to wake up the story of the suffering and sorrow so that you can find that light that's right there with us. It's right there in us. We are an outward expression of this inward grace. But sometimes, too much, we keep it to ourselves. Shine your light. Share whatever it is that gives you hope. Share the joy and stop pushing your despair narrative on folks who are already in despair. Share the suffering, but always, always release it and hold on to the light. I love you.